Good evening and welcome back to the ASUS ROG DreamLeague. It is time for the grand finals of the third season. We're gonna find out tonight who is the champion, who is gonna take away the $54,000, by the way. Just to put that out there.
You did the MVP, or most MVP
55,
thing.
Why? What?
It doesn't matter.
54,000, so $54 million.
54,000.
It's a pretty impressive prize pool.
It's a very impressive prize pool. It's 54,000. There we go. I did it, guys. Thanks. So we are here, Na'Vi versus Virtus.pro. I'm very excited. We saw them face off yesterday, and I mean, that was the best series we'd had all tournament, so I'm really excited. I'm thinking we're gonna get another explosive series here on our hands, but I would like to hear from you guys. What are we expecting? Is it gonna be as explosive as yesterday, or maybe are the teams gonna, or in this case, maybe Virtus.pro, take a step back, try to be more controlled?
Come on,
Okay.
It's Virtus.pro we're talking about here. Like, there's no way any of these teams back down. I think it's going to be aggression from minute one, and I think certain heroes in this draft for these two teams is like so important. Like Leshrac, like both G and Dendi play that hero to a T. Winter Wyvern, there's so many heroes that kind of overlap, like the Undying as well. Art style on that hero, you don't want to give art style to that hero. Like, he just pushes every hero to the limit, and that's kind of a hero where you can do it so much more aggressively than there is. So,
what do you think the most important thing for this series is, Lumi?
So there's two things that is plaguing my mind since casting the game with you. Towards the end, no, not plague. Like, you brought up some great points, and I want to just repeat it. You're saying that the offlane player, DK Phobos, he seems to have difficulty when he doesn't get the offlaner he wants. Darkseer being one of them, and Centaur being the other one. Maybe Clockwork too. I haven't seen him playing on too much, but that hero could. Most of the time, it's a for sure hook. If you see the target, you line it up, hook, cog. It's very easy. When you have to play something that's like Spearbreaker, where he charges in and a lot of things could change during the charge, I think that's where he has a bit of trouble. So if I'm Na'Vi, maybe instead of focusing on the supports, I would focus on getting Darkseer early, because Funnick is excellent on the hero as well. Combines well with Winter Wyvern and a lot of the other heroes they like to pick. So that's one concern I have for Virtus.pro going to this final. Second concern, which just outside of the game, G is feeling sick. He still wasn't recovered, I heard, towards the end of the series, which, I mean, going to a long best of 5 against Na'Vi, that's one of the, I think, the more important things, but we don't really know what the conditions are. We can't really talk too much about it, but yeah.
Well, yesterday, Na'Vi was able to secure their place in the grand finals already. They are well rested, and they are actually ready to take the stage as well here in Hall B. So let's take a look at that. And Na'Vi, yesterday, or rather on Saturday, they started out facing NIP, a quick 1-0, although it wasn't that quick, I guess. Then Burning United was their next opponent, which they 2-0'd as well. And 2-0'd Alliance then yesterday. And the real challenge came when they faced Virtus.pro yesterday, and they're looking to repeat their result here in the grand finals.
you saw when we interviewed Havost at the end of the game, he was saying that VP are the team that deserves to be in the finals against us. So you can see there's a lot of respect between these two teams.
There is indeed. We have a Havost carry player. Played a lot of different carries, by the way, this tournament as well.
The one I look forward to is, like, both him and Dendi play Leshrac amazingly. And I just think that kind of hero in these games where you fight a lot and have like the mid-game damage, the mid-game impact is very important. And this man, Saniko.
I actually hope that we're going to see another art style gen coming out today, because, I mean, we were talking about aggression. His gen, I mean, the moment he has a creep, he's going for it.
Since he's come into the team, like, so there was a post on Reddit, and the graph of their wins just went like sky high. His drafting has just been on point.
Then, of course, I've seen an amazing Shadow Fiend from him yesterday, Dragon Knight as well. And last but not least, Funnick, solid offlaner. Seen great heroes from him as well, Clockwork, amazing for him. And also, actually, one thing I want to mention, Funnick is together with Loda, one of the creators of the Faceit Pro League, in which people can still sign up. You can go to faceit.com And you can select your game, in which case, I mean, you're going for Dota 2, obviously. CSGO is also possible, though, if you really want to. And you can compete, and you actually have a chance to play against these very players that we're seeing right here on stage, because most of them are playing in the Pro League. And it's a ladder system, and you can, if you reach the top, you can get good enough to win money prizes, first of all, and play with the best, and of course, get your name out there as well. That is indeed Funnick. So Na'Vi, they're looking good. They're looking ready. They came well rested here. How big of an impact do you feel like that might have on this series?
I think the whole element of fatigue and being rested in general is a little overrated.
Okay.
When it comes to like, of course, if you're super if you're really tired or haven't had good sleep, that's one thing. But the whole thing, one team has played one more best of 3 than the other. How important is it really? I'd say there's like a point of critical mass where it's like, okay, now you've played enough games in the day, now you can start talking about fatigue. Because Virtus.pro only had to play 3 games in their best of 5 series, I don't think fatigue is going to be an issue. If they went 5 long games and then had to play another best of 5, different story, but yeah. Today, I wouldn't attribute anything to...
Especially even the games we saw last night. It was really late in the night, and it was against these 2 teams playing, and honestly, that was some of the best Dota I've seen in a long time. Like, both teams just really on point in every team fight, and not that many mistakes at all, so...
One thing that was really important yesterday were the last picks. Getting the Chen, in case of Artstyle, getting the Weaver for Virtus.pro. How big of an impact are we going to see that have today? Are we going to see a lot of turns that way, or a lot of curveballs?
Well, it's kind of the way Artstyle drafts. Like, he always kind of leaves it open for this kind of surprise. Like, we saw the Broodmother as well from Funnick. Like, honestly, I think a thing like that can, especially in a best of 5, you're willing to take a chance on a risk pick like that, you know what I mean? And maybe they won't ban it, or they won't really figure out what you're doing. Like, it opens it up, especially in the first game, you know, to set the tone of the best of 5.
A lot of the time, it seems like they leave Funnick's hero for last.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not just for the brood factor, but generally. Oh well, I don't know if that's true. Now that I think about it, the only real curveball in the last pick for Funnick was the brood. The other one that comes to mind was the Chen for himself. So they've also last picked a support. What seems to be the approach they take in every game, though, is that they don't ever get Dendy's hero last.
Yeah.
It seems they show their middle lane hand in the generally 3rd or 4th pick, and most of the time they pick it when they know what the opponent's mid laner is, because then they can secure that Dendy. They can make sure he gets a lane that he's comfortable with and he wants to play. But that doesn't mean he has to have an advantage in the lane. They don't have to draft Dendy a lane where he is just on paper has a good matchup. They just need to like see the possibility of support rotations from the enemy team and build around it.
Navi's kind of one of them teams as well that rotates their support so well. Like, I think in 2 of the games we saw yesterday for Na'Vi, Soniko was either close to mid lane or TP'd in to allow Dendy to get first blood. Like, just the communication they show and the reactions are really, really amazing.
Now, the offlaners for both teams are going to be very important. If you are going to have a lineup that needs to fight constantly, or wants to fight constantly, let's be real here. You need to have those offlaners that can actually create some tempo. So Lumi, what kind of offlaners are you looking forward to seeing from DK Phobos and Funnick?
I think Clockwork is a hero that we mentioned, being able to pick off stray supports that's roaming around to gank. The vision game is going to be very important as well. Yeah. Clockwork, not only is he good at mid game, you can scale late game very well. And once you pick up Aghanims, he's just a big nuisance in team fights. Another hero that we saw quite a bit yesterday was Beastmaster. Again, the same vision game. You get great lane control with the Beastmaster boar. And again, the late game, or actually the mid game damage, once you get Necrobook, you just could solo pick off, which I don't think there's another hero that could pick off as easily. You can pick off a carry by yourself, which is pretty insane. So that's the 2 heroes I'm looking towards too, because I think Darkseer is gonna get banned.
Okay.
Just both
first
teams,
phase?
Not first phase. Maybe second phase, especially if Winter Wyvern gets picked up, it's just a nice combo.
Also with Leshrac as well, which both of these teams play.
I guess Darkseer added to that list. I think these are the 3 offlane heroes I would look out for.
Okay, well, Virtus.pro is actually ready to take the stage again for the 2nd time today here for the Grand Finals. So Virtus.pro, take your place. Yeah, having a long day today. Just come off 3-0 against Ninja Pajamas. We talked to FNG and he was tired, but I think, the fighting spirit in these guys, I don't think it's lessened in any way. When they're playing Dota, they're there. G, I think, Cindy, was actually you saying he's not sick, he's wicked sick. And I think, I mean, when you're ill, yes, it's annoying to play with, obviously. But I think if G's in the zone, any physical, inconvenience, I think he forgets about that. He's gaming.
Yeah, there's a reason he has the highest kills in the entire tournament. Like, he likes the game.
And even if you go into a match like this tired or a bit sick, I think generally adrenaline tends to take over in the really big games. That's why a lot of the time when you see the absolutely most important games of Dota tournaments, it makes for some of the most memorable moments, like the
monsters help them.
It makes you some really big plays. It also sometimes makes you some really big over-aggression that you remember. But it's because people obviously get a bit carried away. Like even the calmest of players still get the rush in the finals. So I think G is going to be all right. I'm pretty sure.
I think so too. And of course, there to support him, to help him, Lil, the playmaker of the previous series. Amazing Rubik plays, killing rings of Aquila as if it's nothing, everyday business. Getting all the steals that you want and being able to give chase to everybody, and of course also supporting Illidan, making sure that he gets whatever he wants in the game.
Yeah, Illidan's kind of that kind of player though, that can come in, you give him that early lead, and Lil always secures that for him. And then if he's given the right heroes, he can just take over the entire map. Like, especially on heroes like Weaver, like Slark. Even I haven't seen his Medusa in a long time, but he loved that hero. There was a time in DreamLeague where he just pick it every game. I
think maybe this meta, it might be a bit of a too passive hero. It doesn't really fit that much.
Well, we saw yesterday that FNG was in the top lane, just farming. Sure. And in this whole team, he was 0-0-0, and he was like, "You guys got this, right? I'll just click these creeps."
So you're saying you should play support Medusa on FNG?
Boom.
Next level.
Nice.
Okay, so I want to hear from you guys.
Awful.
I mean, this is going to be a very even finals, at least from my point of view. But I want to hear from you guys. What are we thinking? Who is going to take the championship?
I feel like it's really close. I don't know if it's like just a raw 50-50, but the games yesterday were really close. I think Na'Vi had the most convincing win out of the 3-game series in their third game.
Yeah.
So based off that, maybe they have an advantage. Once again, we don't know for sure how much G's sickness is going to matter. If we take it out of the equation and say it's not existent.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to do it.
We can't really like assess how much it matters. So let's just disregard that and think. VP's games today, I think they showed more weakness than yesterday against NIP. They had especially in their third game today, they made quite a bit of silly mistakes, honestly, against NIP. They still won, which definitely goes to show that even if they have a game in which they make uncharacteristic mistakes, they were still stronger than NIP. So for sure, the correct grand finals, if you will, we found in this tournament. I'm going to say maybe, based on today, Na'Vi 55-45. Probably.
So 3-2 in that case, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably the most likely outcome. I would think a 3-0 is almost out of the question, and 3-1 could happen.
Yeah, even in the second game yesterday, when Na'Vi had such a lead, like VP could just bring the fights to them. And honestly, I think when these two teams clash up against each other, because of the styles that are played, like everyone steps up their game a lot. You know, when we saw VP playing against NiP, it's kind of a different style of Dota that NiP play, and Na'Vi almost brings out the best in VP, and vice versa. You know. So I'm going to say, this is really difficult, actually. But I honestly, I think VP can win 3-2.
3-2, but for the other side. Okay, Lumi, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the 3-1 here. 3-1 Na'Vi.
Ooh.
I felt that today VP showed quite a bit of weakness, and Na'Vi was definitely watching. It feels like the support players for VP, the rotation just weren't on point, or I think part of it was due to the draft. There were some games where, like, it was Park Darks here, I remember. It's just really hard to gank those heroes, for example. But what's stopping from Na'Vi getting Puck Darkseer in one of the matches? The gank just doesn't fall through. Now, the VP support played really well during the mid game, but they were always playing from a deficit. And I think if you're playing from a deficit against Na'Vi, it's just much bigger hill to climb. So just kind of a gut feeling. I feel like Na'Vi is still the strongest team in the tournament, and I think they're gonna take it 3-1.
Well, I agree with thinking that Na'Vi is at the moment the strongest team in the tournament. I am going to give it a 3-2 though, because I do think that Virtus.pro, when it comes to it, and especially against Na'Vi, a team that they know very well, and I mean that's kind of like their kind of matchup, I think that they should be able to at least take 2 games, and it could just as easily be a 3-2 in this case, in favor than of Virtus.pro the other way around. We're going to find out though, but before we actually go into the game, let me remind you once more that if you want to have a chance to win a gaming notebook PC, you go to facebook.com/ROGNordic. You there put in your MVP of DreamHack Summer for the ASUS ROG DreamLeague, and perhaps you will be an owner of the gaming notebook PC after this weekend. Also, if you want to even have a chance to win more prizes, you can go to roc.gg/DreamLeague, and there you can fill in multiple questionnaires and have chances of multiple Rocket items. So make sure you check that out. Now, we have made all our predictions, and I'm really curious to hear what the casters are going to think about this match. We're going to find out. It is time for the grand finals here for the ASUS ROG DreamLeague. It is going to be Na'Vi versus Virtus.pro.